Right now, as you press play on this, something has stopped moving in the sky. A planet that takes 248 years to orbit the Sun. A planet so far away that nothing on Earth should be able to feel it. But we do. We have been for weeks. So, if you have been waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason, if you felt your jaw clenched and you cannot remember when it stopped being soft, or if you've been crying at songs that you don't even like, maybe this is for you. Pluto stationed retrograde on May 4th at 3 degrees and 49 minutes of Aquarius. And what I am about to walk you through is in two parts. This is the first part 1, the outer gate, civilians, nuclear, wealth, the system running underneath everything we've been told to call normal. Part 2 is the inner gate, identity, our body, the shadow underneath our spirituality, and the one question I am not going to ask you yet because the answer requires both parts. Take your right hand, place it flat on the bone in the middle of your chest. Press gently. Feel the heat where your palm meets the bone. Stay there. Now, the promise. By the end of part 2, I will ask you a question. You will not be able to answer it now, and that is not because you're not smart enough, but because the answer requires you to see what is underneath. The warning, if you stay through both episodes, you will not be able to unsee it. That is what Pluto Retrograde is for. Welcome to the next frequency. The gate is open. Most astrology will tell you Pluto is transformation, the phoenix, the rebirth, the thing that breaks you open and makes you stronger. It is, but it is the Instagram version. The real Pluto is the lord of what is buried. Power, mass psychology, nuclear energy, surveillance, annihilation, and what rises from it. When Pluto stations retrograde, it does not soften. It turns inward. And whatever has been building on the ground in our life, in our body, in the world, starts pushing toward the surface. And that is happening right now. Pluto is stationed at the very edge of Aquarius. And this is the first full retrograde clean of Capricorn. The first one where the rear view mirror does not show the old empire. It is also stationing conjunct a fixed star called Algedi, called by the ancient Chinese astronomers Nu, the gateway star, the border pass, the tribute gate, the place where things that want to cross have to pay something to be allowed through. Pluto is sitting on that gate until October 13th. Whatever wants to cross over from underground to surface between now and mid-October will. The question is not whether the shadow rises, the question is whether we recognize it when it does. To understand what Pluto in Aquarius does, we don't look forward, we look back. Pluto was last in the sign from 1778 to 1798. That is 20 years. And in those 20 years, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the only successful slave revolt in human history, the end of monarchies, the invention of quote unquote the people as a political category. That is the light side, that is the Instagram caption, but Pluto is never just only the light side. In the same 20 years, in the same document signed by the same hands, the new American Republic codified slavery into its founding contract. The cotton gin was invented in 1793, which made the labor of enslaved Africans catastrophically more profitable. And the institution that revolutionary rhetoric pretended to outgrow exploded into industrial scale. The French Revolution that began with liberty, equality, fraternity, I hope I said that good, ended with the reign of terror. 40,000 people guillotined, most of them not aristocrats. The guillotine itself was Aquarian technology. Its inventor pitched it as humane, egalitarian, modern, scientific, democratic. because it would kill aristocrat and peasant with the same impartial blade. That is Pluto in Aquarius. It does not kill cruelly, it kills systematically. It industrializes what the previous era used to do by hand. Hold this pattern with me, underneath everything we are about to look at. Pluto in Aquarius liberates and consolidates in the same gesture. The language of freedom and the construction of new control structures arrive in the same documents, signed by the same people, often without anyone noticing. That was 247 years ago. We are inside the same gate. Different machines, same logic. In 2026, the United States Department of Homeland Security received $165 billion in yearly funding. Not a typo, not a misspeak. 165 billion. That money is flowing into AI surveillance, facial recognition at airports, biometric scanners at borders, sentiment analysis on our social media, predictive policing systems that build heat maps of who they think might commit a crime before any crime has occurred. In March, the FBI director confirmed to Congress that the FBI is purchasing the location histories of American citizens from private data brokers, not with warrants, just buying them. There is an app called Elite, used by immigration and customs enforcement, that populates a map with deportation targets and assigns a confidence score for the current locations. Like what? Tinder is currently planning to scan your entire camera roll with AI to improve your matches, quote unquote. Stop and let that sentence sit. Tinder will scan your camera roll with AI to improve your matches. The wildest part isn't that this is happening, it is how casually it is being announced. In the late 1700s, the printing press was the new mass information technology. The same press that produced common sense and the Declaration of the Rights of Man was used, inside the Reign of Terror, to print daily lists of names denounced to the Committee of Public Safety. That means people were guillotined because their name appeared on a printed list. The medium of liberation became the infrastructure of the purge. The algorithmic feed is the pamphlet press. Our data is the printed list. We have already been catalyzed. The retrograde question for this layer is, what did I hand over willingly because the cost of refusing felt like loneliness? Pluto wants the part where you said yes. On February 5th of this year, the new START treaty expired. If that name doesn't mean anything to you, then that is the design. New START, all capital letters by the way, was the last binding nuclear arm control agreement between the United States and Russia, the final cap on the world's two largest nuclear arsenals. It expired, with no replacement. We are now living in a world that has not existed since before the Cuban Missile Crisis. No treaty, no formal limits, no ceiling on warheads. The bulletin of atomic scientists, the people who tend the doomsday clock, has been clear for months. We are now in a full arms race. China is rapidly expanding warheads. The US is funding the Golden Dome missile defense system. There is serious internal discussion in multiple capitals about resuming nuclear testing for the first time in 3 decades. And it's really mind-blowing to me that there are people who are more busy with the fucking Met Gala, I'm so sorry I can't say that, I did, than this, but okay, it's cool, I need to just chill. Pluto is sitting on the gateway star, the border past the tribute gate. As Pluto was approaching this sector in February, Iran ran live military drills across the Strait of Hormuz, the literal gateway through which a third of the world's seaborne oil must pass. The gate, the strait, the ancient stars. Pluto does not believe in coincidences. Pluto believes in cycles. The guillotine in 1789 was sold as humane technology. It killed all classes equally, without the cruelty of the executioner's hand. 40,000 deaths in 18 months. The modernity of the machine is what made the scale possible. The nuclear weapon runs on the same logic. Not cruel, thorough. The most rational, most distributed technology of mass death humans have ever built. Aquarian to the bone, Pluto's instrument, 247 years apart. The retrograde question: where in our own life have we been holding a weapon that we swore we'd never use? And where is the wound keeping the weapon close? The destruction impulse always has a wound underneath. Pluto wants the wound, not the weapon. The word plutocracy comes from the same Greek root as the planet Pluto, Plutos, wealth, the god of buried treasure. We are calling Pluto retrograde by a name we also use for the system most of us live under. That is not a coincidence either. In 2025, global billionaire wealth surged by $2.5 trillion, 3 times faster than the previous 5-year average. Total over $18 trillion, more than 15% of global GDP, held by approximately 3,000 people. The richest billionaires now own more than the bottom half of humanity. They own more than half of the largest media companies on earth, all the major social media platforms. A billionaire is 4,000 times more likely to hold political office than an ordinary citizen. The most Aquarian thing about this is that they will tell you they did it for the future, for innovation, for humanity. That is not me being snide. That is the literal language in their press releases. You can read them, they're very proud. The American Revolution was financed and led by the wealthiest landowners in the colonies. Most of them owned other human beings. Pluto in Aquarius does not flatten power, it redistributes the names of the people who hold it. The old aristocracy falls, a new aristocracy rises, wearing the language of liberation like a robe. I want to ask you something. And this is the comment section question between part 1 and 2. Don't tell me what's been taken away from you. Tell me what you handed over. Drop it in the comments, one thing you gave away without realizing the cost. Could be data, could be attention, could be, I saw 1313 on the timer, thank you. Could be data, could be attention, could be a piece of yourself you outsourced to a platform that doesn't have your interest at heart. This is not a debate. This is not a topic of discussion. This is a confession. I am going to read what you write, and in part 2, I am going to talk about it. Because Pluto retrograde isn't a horoscope you watch. It is a ritual you participate in. The comments section under this video is the underworld speaking back. So, hands back on our sternum. We've walked through the outer gate, the surveillance, the nuclear, the wealth, the 247-year-old pattern underneath everything we've been told to call normal. That's the world shadow. Easy to point at, harder to feel implicated by. Pluto retrograde isn't satisfied with naming only what is outside of us. So in part 2 we go inside, our identity and which of our beliefs were served by us, to us by a system that profits from our certainty. Our body and what our blood and bone marrow have been absorbing under regulatory standards that haven't been updated since 1996. Troublesome 96. I saw, okay, sorry. And the most uncomfortable layer of all, the spiritual industry itself. What happens when go inward becomes a substitute for ever looking outward? And the question, the one I cannot ask you yet, between now and part two, do two things. One, drop your confession in the comments. What did you hand over? I will read it. The next episode opens with what you wrote. Two, keep your hands on your sternum when the news gets loud this week. Our body knew Pluto stations before our mind did. We have to keep listening to it. 5 months until October. 2 episodes, one question. I'll see you in part two. This is the next frequency. The gate is open. Thank you so very much for listening to another episode. Stay safe, stay unharmed out there. I love you all so very much. Share, comment, and like for my content. And if you want to stay updated about the second part, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, frequency is power. Bye.